So my name's Jeremy Drury. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for IKEA Germany. Based very closely here in Wallau is the headquarters for the organization. I have a little bit of a Faschings cold because I am also in my private life, for people who do celebrate Fasching, I am part of a Männer ballet team. We're not going to be looking at that today. Maybe I snuck the video in later or something, but it's just the way it is. And as a Chief Digital Officer, I'm also very electronic. So as you may have heard, I work for a small startup. I work for IKEA, based in Germany. We've been in IKEA for not about 50 years, exactly 50 years. 50 years of IKEA was a celebration this year. I hope you all recognize that, because we spent a lot of time and effort making sure you did. IKEA itself has been around for 70 years. And part of that journey was starting in Switzerland and then coming to Germany, starting in Esching and moving out from there. We now have 54 stores, the stores you know and love. Anyone not been in a store? It's the easier question. We have 54 stores. We also have planning and order points, which you may not have been to yet, but these are smaller format stores, particularly for kitchen planning, PAX planning, because these are more difficult customer journeys that need a little bit more support. So we have 9 and growing, because we need and want to be closer to the many people. We also run our own distribution centers in Germany, running not only for our own not only for the German organization, but the European organization. So it's a complicated and fun startup to work in. And it buzzed at me but didn't work. So we'll do this differently. We have a vision to create a better everyday life for the many people. Do we all know who this guy is? He's the I and the K in IKEA. This is Ingvar Kamprad. And he set out this vision in 1976, and we'll get to that point a little later on, because it's a very important part of who we are as individuals and at IKEA. It's not just about creating a better everyday life for the many people, but we want to offer as much product and range to those people as we can at a price point that they can all afford. We are there for everybody, and we want to be there for everybody, and it's a continual conversation that we have with ourselves about who do we want to be and how do we want to represent IKEA to the many people, and make sure that we are delivering those products at that price point. You probably know how it all started, because you've probably been there at school or at kindergarten. Because I remember when I was young, I would be there cutting out the IKEA catalogue, sticking it in because I needed a picture of a chair for some reason. I have no idea what I was learning at the time. But that was a part of my culture growing up. And I would imagine you all had similar experiences, at least the older people in the room. The younger people in the room may not have had that experience because the catalogue doesn't exist, but then you have to be quite young for that to be true. Because we've stopped the catalogue and we've moved on, because the world moves on. And we want to be, now we are much more positioned as an online retailer, with a consumer experience that spans across not only the physical retail spaces that I talked about earlier, but also the customer experience that is the online experience and the mobile experience. And this has been a huge change for us, because we didn't want to do it. We have great stores. We have great experiences, and they're beautiful places to be. And then in 2019, we made the choice to move online. And COVID came and forced us to do it. And I got a great compliment this morning, who said it was amazing to see how we changed through COVID and upgraded the whole system to allow click and collect to actually happen. And we got driven into this, into transformation, which took us to a new place. And this is all about getting more accessible to, for the many people. And I've mentioned them today. We've mentioned planning and order points, which is a format we never thought we would have. Our online space and our mobile app are now a central part of the way we integrate and operate with our consumers and our customers. And we've taken it upon ourselves to make this experience as seamless as possible. As a retailer, it's omni-channel. It's more moving to unified retail, where it doesn't matter where you interact with us, we need to join those dots up. Essential to the consumer, the consumer side, the customer side of this then becomes the online space, particularly around the app. Who doesn't have the IKEA app installed? Okay, so you guys are not talking to me later? Because the IKEA app is the central part for the experience that we're offering. It's not just about purchasing online at home. It's about using that experience throughout the customer journey in the store. Our stores need to do, with 54 stores, the chances of us opening another large store is pretty slim. We're fairly well saturated in that regard. So how do we make that experience better so that you come to buy the things that we want you to buy? You come to buy the things that you want to buy. Yeah. So we have we've been spending a lot of time evolving the app from a consumer perspective, and I just want to talk about this before we start talking about the co-workers, because the journey is relevant if you're talking about the transformation. It's very easy to see what goes on in front of it's very easy to see what's going on in front of the curtain, and then we can talk about what happens behind the curtain. So in store, shop and go. You can now scan your own goods, not only get them from the warehouse yourselves, but scan them yourselves, which makes the whole process of checkout a lot easier. Checkout in the cash desk was one of the largest pain points for our customers. Now, you've spent an hour and a half, 3, in IKEA, having your wonderful day out, which is it is a great place to be, especially upstairs when you're getting those new ideas for your own home, and then you spend half an hour at the cash desk, and it's the only thing between you and a hot dog, and you want to get there quick, right? We need to get rid of that point because it hurts. We don't like it. You don't like it. So Shop and Go is one of the products that we introduced to smooth that process through and allow you to take control of your shopping experience, and us to make more efficiencies as we go through the process. If you haven't tried it, you should next time you go to IKEA, which will be tomorrow, and because it is a very, very, very good experience for everybody. Second one that's coming is store navigation. This was a tricky one, because do we want to show you where everything is? Because it's like adding shortcuts within the store itself. But again, it was a very, very important part of the process, because a lot of time. I'll ask the question. What is the number one question that a store coworker gets asked? Where can I find what? The toilet. That's not a useful question. Where I can find packs, or where can I plan this? Those are useful questions. But how do we create the environment where the non-useful interactions, the non-value interactions, can actually be taken by yourself and self-served? So this is a very important part of that process. Store navigation. And of course, if we know where you want to go, we can also help you find things along the way. IKEA Creative. This is a wonderful piece, and we're probably somewhere today, I'm sure we're going to start talking about AI. I will, just to start the day later. But this is a wonderful piece of artificial intelligence and machine learning, based upon the same technology that cars use when they're self-driving. IKEA Creative is a step along the way to democratize home design. I work at IKEA, but I have no idea how to design a home. I work with some very, very special, fantastic, magical people who really do know how to design homes. So as a design moron, IKEA Creative really helps me. It allows me to scan my room, remove the furniture, and then start to interact with that space using IKEA furniture. And this is a game changer for us, because it really enables people to concentrate on what they want to achieve. They want to achieve a good home. And if we extend that further and start to expand that experience, we're talking about how do we suggest potential homes. So imagine one of the room sets at IKEA upstairs as you go through, but it's actually your room. That's a nice place to be. I've got a quick video. I love this video, so I had to throw it in. It normally has sound. So you're getting all this stuff as a customer, and now you're going to go home. You're going to install the app. You're going to use IKEA Creative. You're going to go to your kids' rooms, and you're going to remove all the crap off the floor and make it all look nice. That's what I do. So if we can do this for our customers, what are we going to do about what should we do for our co-workers? If you imagine all those innovations, and those are some of the things that we're doing for customers, what's going on behind the curtain? There's a whole lot of stuff going on behind the curtain. I had to write them down because there's lots of them. Selling processes, warehouse management, distribution, people management, price tags, finance transformations, queue management systems, drones in our warehouses, checkout systems being replaced. Those are the ones I just wrote down. We have a backlog of a huge number of things which are being put in into the system to enable us to transform not just the customer experience but also the coworker experience. And those things need to be balanced and managed. It's going well most of the time. The presentation was it's a question of culture and mindset. And I work for a company which is driven by its culture. And this is a really magical foundation to stand on when at any organization. I've worked for other organizations where the values and the culture was something we stuck on the wall. Not at IKEA. When I go into a room of people, I know who I'm meeting because we are people of IKEA. We have a basic understand. We have a common ethical position. We know who we are, and that's very much thanks to Ingvar Kamprad. In 1976, he wrote this book, and you can download it as well and have a look at the Testament of a Furniture Dealer, because the Testament of a Furniture Dealer outlines who we are and what we represent. Everything from our cost efficiency values, to simplicity, to working together, to curiosity, the mindsets that make us who we are. I showed you that video for two reasons. One, because it's cool, but because that's what it's like to work at IKEA. We are who we represent. It's a magical place to be. And if we take that through our transformation, we're able to do things with us, which gives us the first important part of, for me as a digital officer, the first important part of transformation. And it's not the technology, and it never will be the technology. It's all about the people, because they're the people who are going to take all of those lists of things that I've spoken about, and they're going to put them into reality, and they're going to make the difference with those tools. So people make the technology work. And that is that's one of the biggest drivers when we look at how do we push forward the technology agenda, the technology transformation, is how do we bring the people with us? It's not easy, and there's many reasons why it's not easy. But if we have it as number one, I think we can make a big difference. Just as our customers expect the IKEA channels to be connected, our co-workers do too. And as we start to build product, we went through the experience of building individual products and expecting our co-workers to deal with that problem. And unifying, as we do the customer experience, unifying the co-worker experience is also a very valuable asset. They shouldn't be struggling with our problems. We should be designing to solve for them. And why do we design such beautiful consumer products and forget the co-workers who are actually needing to help, needing to support? So designing fluid product behind the scenes is very important. We've invested significantly in our co-workers, and I'm going to give you some numbers which aren't about the investments, but you will understand why we need to invest. We did 6.1 billion euros in revenue last year. 25% approximately of that was online. That's a huge number. That's a huge lot of things we have to sell and we have to work through. There were 235 million store visitations last year. That means every one of you went 3 times. Everyone in Germany went 3 times to an IKEA store. And 80 million online. So everyone visited our online services once last year, everyone in Germany. These are huge numbers. And if we don't invest in helping the co-workers understand what it means to be part of an omni-channel journey, and we're not going to be able to allow the consumer to do that. So we've invested in digital exploring programs, online learning. Sounds great. Not if you haven't got any time to do it with. So we dedicate time. We've dedicated time to allow our co-workers to spend the time learning what they need. And we've also invested in some support for our co-workers to support their own digital lives at home, because it needs to be part of the everyday, not just something that happens at work. I'm looking at the time, a bit worried. I told you there'd be an AI slide, because AI does offer a huge opportunity, because it is a mind shift requirement. I think we're going to hear some more about that later on. But bringing our co-workers along on the AI journey allows us to also put technology to help them understand technology. AI has been a rapid change, and it's a trigger for a new set and a new way of working. But we also need to invest in the education of our employees to make sure the fear is not there when Gen AI is released. We've globally we've had a leadership awareness program. It's reached about 30,000 people. In Germany, we focused on the leadership teams to begin with, so that's about 1,500 people. We're now in the process of bringing Gen AI and AI in general, and I would even argue automation in general, because that's a better question, I think, into the organization, so that everyone can take part in helping us be more efficient. In Germany, we're pretty unique with our social partners, and special care and attention is necessary to this wonderful group of volunteers. We have spent a lot of time working with our social partners to make sure we have a framework in place to help them understand what's necessary and allow us to implement quickly. This was a long conversation, took a long time, but from a transformation perspective, if we want to move the agenda, this group of people cannot be forgotten. They represent our co-workers, and we need to work very closely with them. So we've been also working with them to make sure that we have that framework in place, which helps us to move forward. I can talk about that later on, if you're interested. One of our key drivers is leadership by all. Only those who are asleep make mistakes. Make no mistakes. Sorry, make no mistakes. And leading, allowing everybody within the organization to make decisions, to lead, to ask the right questions, to remain curious, is very important in our in the transformation. So we have a strong culture of entrepreneurialism, which is why I always call IKEA a startup, because we still are. And this statement of bringing leadership across the whole organization opens up some doors for us. So within our stores, we are now implementing digital ambassadors, or omni-channel ambassadors, depending on where we're going, who are there championing the leadership of digital transformation. We have processes in place which allows everybody within the organization to share their ideas, to share their collaborations and bring those into the transformation flow. We don't have all the answers. We probably make most of the problems. So how do we bring that? How do we close that loop and bring that back? And this is a very strong message to everyone regarding you need to take the leadership to drive the change within the organizations, not just in IKEA Germany, but across the whole of the business. And then finally, almost, the last step is to remain curious. And I go back to what I said about generative AI, because that's given us the bridge to go back to being curious with technology, because it's new and you can explore with it. So encouraging curiosity helps us to minimize the fear of transformation. And I think it's very important when we're talking to our co-workers to open up some boxes for them and let them look inside what is going on when we talk about technology. Be curious about what's inside. Talk about it, work together, and then we'll see that it's only mathematics. It's nothing complicated. We're not here to scare people. We're here to change. I'm going to leave you with another short video, because I think these guys tell the story much better than I do.
Die IKEA-Mitarbeiter sind eigentlich nur Kunden, die den Ausgang nicht mehr gefunden haben. Zusammen geht's einfach besser.
So, as I went through this presentation, there are a couple of things that you may have picked up. You may not have, but I'm going to tell them you anyway. We have a very strong vision. That's important. IKEA is a vision and purpose-driven company. And if you're looking for a transformation of any kind, be it a digital transformation or a business transformation, people need to know why are we here. We have a continuous learning culture. We make time, we invest, and we give time and we invest in people to make sure that they have the skill sets or they have access to that knowledge to help them go forward. With the leadership by all, we're asking people to lead by example. Make the change. If you don't like it, tell us. Let's change it. Let's find a way to see if we can change it. And that's very important. We're not just working on the customer experience. The outward face where everyone sees us is important, but inside it's very important to make sure that those processes come together. And my latest mantra is replacing fear with curiosity. Because if we can help people understand that it's nothing to be afraid of. Change is not to be afraid of. It's to be embraced. It's to be felt. That curiosity, I think, drives things forward. This guy said some wonderful things. This one is very important to me. Most things remain undone. We've still got a huge amount to do. There will always be work to go. And he obviously doesn't want to stay with me today. But there is, we make steps forward, but we always need to look how we can improve. And that's why curiosity replaces fear is the way to move forward. Thank you very much. I will be here, I think, later, and you can ask your questions.